Welcome back, guys. We're here after game number 1 that KT Rolster was able to take in under 23 minutes. They didn't waste any time up against Hanwha Life as Prey was able to pick up that MVP performance. Didn't die, got 11 kills, or rather 11 kill participations, you could say, out of the 14 I think they had. So, not half bad. I feel like it was either himself or Score that was going to pick that one up. But the real question is, can they do it again? As, you know, KT has struggled with that in the past, LS.
Yeah, and, I mean, they're up against Hanwha here, so they do have a much easier time trying to beat their opponent. And remember, this split of LCK, the middle of the pack almost extends all the way down into 7th place.
It does.
It's not even the middle of the pack, it's just the upper pack is actually all the way down into 7th, top down, as we've jumped in now to game number 2 here. We'll see what the picks and bans may have in store for us. As Yumi in the window. Talia following that
They
up.
do kind of look like windows, don't they?
What?
Down there in the bottom, those band things kind of look like windows. You know, their faces are just sticking out of them. They're like entrapped in a glass case of emotion they can't get out of.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying, Alice?
All right. Nope.
That's what happens when you get banned, because you don't get to get played.
I'm done.
Must feel really bad.
Corky was now banned. Look what you did.
That's good.
Tanner,
I mean,
I actually just, I was going to the
Sorry,
bathroom. Yeah, I was going to the bathroom and I saw Tanner there. I asked him if he would be participating in game 2. He was swarmed with fans, so.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I looked on at him with envy and jealousy, you know. Just, I don't even know. Just can't compete with Tanner.
You mean that never happens to you? Like when you're walking down the street? Like, you never get a throng of fans just to surround you?
You know, I actually saw Sandbox and Griffin players hurdled around him, too. They were looking for autographs from Tanner.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame him. It's Tanner from high school.
I can't
right?
either.
Like, the guy's actually a guy.
Yeah.
Thresh's gonna be banned.
Thresh is a really peculiar ban. We don't get to see that very often. And so now, Hanwha Life are looking to what they're going to lock. They pick Aatrox first. And yeah, he has been buffed here in 9.14. No longer can revive. Never mattered anyway. But to hand it over to KT Rolster, and I feel like this is very easy to draft against. Whether or not they're going to do that is another question. But you can just choose Peely kind of champions.
Sejuani Xayah, maybe?
No.
No?
That would, nah. It's alright, though. They're gonna lock in the Sedge.
You're gonna go against my prediction?
I'm gonna... Oh, is that what you're predicting?
Yeah, that was my
okay.
prediction.
I thought it was a suggestion.
No. This is my life on the line, actually. I only get one chance here. It's either Sejuani and Xayah, or, well, we all know what happens.
Alright.
Sejuani gets picked up. Xayah was banned in game number 1 by Hanwha Life, but looks like they might be going against that pick this time around. Will be favoring that Camille, so they get that 1-2 punch in terms of not only synergy for lanes if you want to gank that Camille lane, but also for some pretty sick engage overall.
Alright. Tom now being picked up. And let's see what they're going to accompany this with. Maybe they do just take the Ezreal or something. Nope. Instead, they want to go for the neutralizing bottom lane, which is the Tom Ashe. It's very, very difficult to get legs up in this match over these two champions. They're super, super safe. They are on the blue side, though, so it does leave them a little bit more susceptible. Kai'Sa being hovered right now.
I feel like KT have a tier list, and they're like, well, Corky was banned from game 1, so our second pick was Sejuani, then Kai'Sa, then Camille. But instead of that, they will go for the Nautilus that they did play in game number 1. Not much changing here on the side of KT.
Now they're probably just going to pinch the jungler pool, most likely. They have counter pick reserved for mid lane as it is. And then perhaps Hanwha Life just tries to pinch the ADC pool, but there's still quite a lot of them that are open. not so many that are good into Renekton being banned away, maybe trying to steal away an Aurelia ban. That's the only thing I can think of as to why you would ban Renekton here. But you have mid counter pick. They're not going to face up the Renekton, so it doesn't make all that much sense to me. And if it's handed back to KT after these bans and they lock in Aurelia before picking ADC, I don't know why you would do that to yourself. But Trundle now going to be banned away as one of the Sejuani answers. And I really do think that the Renekton is only there to steal away Aurelia as a ban away from Hanwha Life to maybe just keep more ADCs available, but can't really make that much sense of it. As, yeah, double ADC banned away. Kallista's really bad into Ashe. So I'm not sure why that ban came in. You know what? I'm a negative Nancy right now.
You are. You're getting pretty Nancy.
A little.
Pretty negative right now. I feel like the Kalista with the Nautilus, right? You got some good synergy there. Prey. He can play Kalista. Not half bad. We saw the Kai'Sa, what she can do with all the heavy lockdown in game number 1. Now, the Lucian would be an interesting one. Generally, that means you want to get a bit more aggressive in the lane, but we haven't really seen too many aggression.
It's all right.
There we go. I made it. Okay. Lucian lanes here in the LCK in a while.
Lucian really fell off the face of the earth. He still gets picked sometimes, not really all that much, but usually you do it when you're much better than the opponent. This would be a sad story if they lock in Zoe and then KT actually gets their Aurelia, even though I feel like the Renekton pick is just signaling it. And so
the Renekton ban.
Yeah, the Renekton ban was signaling that Aurelia could be coming in the mid lane, and then you give Aurelia her ideal matchup in mid. If you could ask BDD, yes, what would you like to play the Aurelia against, good sir? And he would say to you, well, you know, I wouldn't mind a Zoe. I guess that would be okay. And Elise is picked up there as well. They're hovering Akali right now.
Akali, another interesting one. Very slippery against the Zoe. Perhaps can get a little bit away from the Elise ganks a bit better. We know that BDD can play it there in the mid lane, so I'm not too upset with it. They also needed some heavy AP damage in their composition because otherwise they'd be relying mainly on the Sejuani, which doesn't seem to be enough.
So they pick up the Akali to avoid the point of the all AD, even though Camille does quite a lot of damage, and there's also a lot of squishies on the side of Hanwha Life. So they don't have the ability to really go tank. Ashe, she can get Ninja Tabby, and then Zoe can get Zhonya's Hourglass, but for the most part, the all AD thing isn't super problematic had they gone with the Aurelia. Instead, they do get the Akali, which is interesting in itself. We're going to take a look at both of these two team compositions again in a second, as Aatrox, Elise, Zoe, Ashe, and then right at the very end there, Tahm Kench. This is a very big pick comp. It's also a very big siege comp in the mid to late transition. That's all that they're going to have. And if it falls behind, they don't have any legs to stand on. So they're going to have to really weather the storm early, and Elise is going to have to show up big, because if it goes into the mid game, you put so much pressure on Zoe in the mid lane. On the flip side, though, Lucian and Nautilus, they're going to be looking for kills. It's hard against Tahm and Ashe, but Tahm and Ashe are on blue side, so don't have the comfort of the red side defensiveness. Akali, Sejuani, and Camille obviously have massive wake-ups in the mid game. Lots of heavy engage.
Yeah, so Hanwha Life once again looking to get ahead here in the early game. Let's see if KT can shut him down here as we jump into game number 2. All right, starting it up here, game number 2. Prey gets the MVP on the Kai'Sa, decides, hey, you know how I can express my skill a little bit more. Let's jump on Lucian here. You mentioned that it has fallen off in recent times, especially here in Korea. Really don't get to see too much Lucian anymore. He does lose a bunch more.
Yeah, he had 47%, I believe, when they locked him in.
Yeah, he's sitting at 47.8%.
Ah, yes.
According to my
0.8%.
calculations
Yes. Very five-head there, Valis.
Yeah,
yes.
I think I know the exact win-loss rate as well. It's 11 wins and 12 losses.
Wow. Your memory
I know,
is idyllic. Okay, if I do say so myself.
I'm a canyon of just thoughts that,
I can tell.
some
Atlas,
of them get lost down there, but eventually I'm able to dig some of them out.
You know what? Atlas and I were talking about the Marina Trench.
Yeah.
The Mariana Trench? Yeah.
Mariana, I think.
Mariana Trench, yeah. And I believe that I know now how it got as deep as it did. They dropped your brain down there.
Oh, no. That explains a lot about
It really does.
about everything. Okay. That was like a Papa joke. He would do that very often.
Would he?
Yeah.
Papa's
You're filling in very well for him.
Thank you.
Normally I cast with Papa on Friday. I'm a little bit uncomfortable right now.
Yeah, normally I'm not here on Friday.
Yeah. You're kind of a weekend guy.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. But today you're here, and I like your chance there to take that Papa joke.
Okay. I'm glad that I'm really glad that you liked it. Now, let me talk about something that I like.
Sure.
All right.
Go ahead.
Like chocolate.
Okay. Are we doing this again? You're going to tell us the date and time and everything like that?
No, I would never do that. All right, but so far, early game start, Scorch was actually taken by both Ash and Zoe. And whenever I see that, I get a little sad inside. It was buffed a few patches ago, I believe, but still the summoner does not really scale all that well. And if you ever go into a custom, just feel free to go into sandbox mode or a custom with one-on-one with your friend and actually play the laning phase out realistically and see how much damage it actually equates to. And right now, though, up here, Bono and SoHwan, they're trying to coordinate this crash onto Kingen. He can probably sniff it out. Oh,
Kingen's going to face check. That's already a nice amount of burst damage, but can he get away from Bono one-on-one? Doesn't want to flash, and there it is. The kill will come down. First blood, as Kingen just refuses to flash, and will be missing a bunch of that top lane XP.
Yeah, and I think that what he's worried about right there is that even if he flashes away, given Bono's HP, he can't just magically TP back into the lane because then they could repeat the crash on him shortly thereafter, and he knows that his jungler's on the right-hand side. So as long as he has the flash for the next one, he can maybe try to outplay it. And so it looks like it's just a disadvantage that he's forced to take.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad idea. It's definitely going to happen again. A score. We're going behind enemy lines now. Let's see
can
if
Tom
he can get that
the
execution.
No XP.
No XP, nothing out of that one. A score. He did have to flash and go behind enemy lines, but at least he denied a lot from the enemy team.
Well, he also made it so that Lucian gets, I believe, a little bit of an experience lead down in bottom. Sangyoon went on a little bit of a detour. We're going to take a look at this again. You can see that Kingen, he's sniffing it out, but he walks right into the cocoon. Elise following Kingen, and Kingen gets no value, actually, out of the Elise passive. Almost able to heal up, but not quite. Couldn't get the flash out of him either. Wait a minute, is that Zoe thing with the balloon? Is that a balloon attached to the minion?
Oh, yeah.
What? I never noticed that.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, he's holding a balloon.
Do
you think that he's trying to impress Zoe?
No item drop because Zoe wasn't there, so
yeah.
He's a sad little minion.
Yeah, he really is.
He was trying to impress Zoe.
Yeah. Oh, what if, oh my, this is actually turning dark really quickly. Okay. What if these minions are like pinatas to Zoe? They just get placed on the lift, they get, what is it called?
Oh, man.
When, is it marked? What is it in the wild? When
in the wild?
Yeah, in the wild, you
mark your territory?
No. They do it to like sharks. They do it to bears and other stuff.
Oh, they brand them?
Is that it? But they put like a tracking device.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
So that's not a brand. That's like a tracking device. I think.
No. I think there's a more specific word for it, but it's not coming to me right now. NA Education.
Okay, we're in the same boat.
I think that's what Zoe does. Zoe's actually playing the most dangerous game. You ever read that book?
I did not.
Really?
No, yeah, I never.
I think a guy crashes on an island or something. And there's a really rich like hunter guy that helps him out. But
oh yeah, I read that book.
yeah, the game is about letting him go from the house and then hunting him down.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a great
really
book,
messed
actually.
up. I think Zoe is just taking the mantle on that book with the minions from Summoner's Rift.
It would explain a lot. About
It really
Zoe.
would, yeah.
And why everybody hates her.
She does get a little bored after 1,000 years of life, it seems. You know, so.
Hey, you gotta entertain yourself in one way, am I right?
League of Legends Hostile Edition.
Oh, God. Oh, here we go. Bono looking for it. He's going to cancel that back. The hook shot looks like it's down for now. The question is, will he flash this time around? He will.
Why?
And that's kind of a sad one, as we see Camille just fall into a pile of steel and not be able to do anything as she goes down.
These have been two very solo QS ganks that have been pulled. Oh, the Poro's going to sleep.
Oh, the most dangerous game again. Temp's trying to get on in there, but not going to actually land BDD here at level 6. Thinking about fighting this one, but at the end of the day, we'll just have to give away that red buff. So Hanwha Life actually getting a lot of objectives here and wins early on in the game, and they're looking for more.
No.
Okay. That's going to go wide. Nice try, but
the intent was really good.
Yeah.
By
I like the idea.
Yeah.
Kingen, though, seemed like he had a good read on the situation.
This Camille feels very bad right now up in top lane. And we shall see what ends up happening next. You can see the score's not even, he's not even able to come up. Oh my god, this is just, all right, you know what? The cocoons.
Yeah, not the best spider as we're zooming in here on Score, who, I don't know if the observer's trying to call him out for bad pathing or something, but he's not really able to help up here on the top side. He's level 5 compared to level 6 Abano, so Score says, hey, let's just take away this Infernal Drake, and how about BDD comes to the top lane?
Yeah, and they can sniff out that this is what's going on, but Kingen just can't play the lane right now. SoHwan is almost level 8, and the damage has been done up in top. And this is a Camille that's going to be very far behind. They're going to get an Infernal. That was 10 AD for Lucian, which is a very nice pickup. That's a longsword, coupled with his Bilgewater Cutlass right now, so other champions are probably getting similar stats as BDD actually manages to get up a cannon. Tempt just left.
He denied the cannon.
Yeah, that was really, really bad for Tempt, but it doesn't really matter. This Aatrox is so massive right now. He's up 1,200 glad. Well, it's not the kind of world ender you're looking for, but
he's ending my world right now.
Look at the gallop on that Poro.
I just like how his tongue is sticking out the whole time.
Well, he has to cool himself off somehow.
That's true.
You know? Is that a giant lollipop that SoHwan carries?
Hold
watch,
on.
watch. It's on the other side. She's hiding it from you. See? That's a lollipop.
Are you sure?
That's a Poro treat.
It doesn't really look like a lollipop.
You don't know what a lollipop looks like.
That's true.
Look.
Okay.
See?
No.
You saw it.
No,
You didn't see that?
no.
Pay attention, Valdez.
It didn't get close enough. I can't see the lollipop.
All right, most dangerous game. What did Zoe? Oh.
She went for the Merc Treads, actually. A little bit scared of the all-in from the Akali.
All right. So Camille is really far behind. Unfortunately for KT, they didn't roll a very good second dragon, and it does look like Bono is going to come over now to start this Rift Herald. And if they can pick that up, they should just be able to utilize it in mid lane to get all of those plates against the Akali. Well, not all of them, but for the most part, all of them, as Sir Thomas is coming back down here into bottom.
He's real angry about that push. Gonna deny that second turret plate for now, but this entire turret will be going down up on the top side. This Aatrox, pretty massive right now. Already having that Youmu's completed. So you can hop into your backline just a bit faster.
And now the golems are actually going to be taken away here by SoHwan, who has a Youmu's Ghostblade. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No big
they're
deal.
Krugs.
You know, in a lot of different lore, they might be identified as golems. If you just happen to run into them in the wild, you probably wouldn't say, you know, if you came back from an adventure and your mom asked you, what did you do? You wouldn't say, oh, I ran into Krugs. Okay, you'd say, Mom, they were these really large golems I ran into.
I mean, that is true, right?
Yeah,
like,
that is true.
What is a Krug exactly?
Exactly.
Do people know what a Krug is?
Yeah, I don't know what a Krug is.
Is there kind of like a background on Krugs and what they are?
I mean, you should tell me.
What kind of monsters they are?
You seem to be an expert in Krugs. It seems like you have a PhD in this.
I mean, I was kind of just trusting Riot's opinion on that one, but we'll have to wait and see as the push coming down in mid lane here. Tempt able to zone him out for now, having a lot of trouble now as SnowFlower able to buffer that dredge line.
That was really good.
And the arrow essentially doing nothing, but is buying a bunch of time to get even more plays for the side of Hanwha Life here. They have already 3,000 gold ahead at 12 minutes.
And now, KT, they're gonna go for this engage.
Oh, we're flashing here. We got TPs over the wall too. Knock up on a Zoe. Getting into that back line. Do they have the damage? SoHwan not able to join the fight. They've only been able to pick up Ash so far. And finally the flash comes in to pick up a second one. As SoHwan finally trying to join in here. The World Ender does so much in the back. But BDD is going to be able to shut him down and make it 3-0 as KT swiftly strike back.
Yeah, KT definitely struck back right there. And it comes at a really crucial time. Had Hanwha Life just been able to back up after everything that just transpired, KT would have been in an awful spot. Instead, Score said that he wanted to settle the score here as he goes right in. SnowFlower flashing the wall with the dredge line as well. Kingen arriving right on time. Perfect spot, too, for that ward. Hextech ultimatum. Tempt was just barely able to get away at the top. And then SoHwan, I mean, he did a lot of damage, and this was looking really good for him, almost, until he died there at the very end. Got locked up by the Sejuani, forced to flash away. He's doing a lot of value on the Aatrox, and now it's only a 1.5k gold lead. And all things considered, with the Infernal Dragon, KT's in a pretty okay spot. It's definitely not horrendous.
Yeah.
However, they're going to have to deal with the fact that their Camille is stunted. And in the mid game, the Zoe and Ashe really do come online.
They do. I mean, the mid game's going to come in, and if they get a couple of successful picks, you'd have to imagine that Hanwha Life could be able to roll it into a lot more. I think a lot of this mid game is going to come down to hitting that power spike you mentioned, but then also executing your pick comp to a high level and seeing how KT can deny that away from Hanwha Life here. You mentioned the Drake. It's an Ocean Drake. KT doesn't necessarily have to start this one up, even though there are a lot of pings to do exactly that, as they feel enough in control of this game to try to roll for one more that they potentially think they could get here.
And it does look like they want to capture this. They seem intent on it.
Another Ocean Drake will come in here. And at first glance, well, BDD going to get away from everything here. Has to use his ultimate to do it, but many ultimates on the side of Hanwha Life were used as well.
And it does look like Prey, he's trying to get this bottom tier 1 turret, but at what cost? Is Hanwha Life are looking like they have their eyes on that mid tier 2. They end up getting it.
Actually a good play by Hanwha Life, able to zone KT out of this one. Now they're looking to zone Kingen out of his life here as a nice hook shot. Actually a very particular angle to get him perfectly to safety there. But the rotations out of Hanwha Life are good. They're really trying to get these two champions online and own the mid game.
And now using this tempo advantage, Kingen.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's not the
able to
ideal
get out of
engage.
there. BDD though with no ultimate and gets bursted down by Tempt. Means that Bono's life saved by the Tom Kench.
Saved by the bell.
Yeah, well. And Prey, in the meantime, was able to go down there and get a bunch of gold. Take a look at the difference in gold between the 80 carries. About 43 CS ahead plus a bunch of turret plates is Prey. He's almost 1,500 gold ahead of the Ash. So that is going to translate into a full QSS right now in the game. And that's what you need. If you are going to go into that Lucian, you want to be winning the lane and getting ahead and be able to do something with that pick.
Yeah. And as we are transitioning into the mid game here, there's likely to be a couple more chaotic fights that can unfold, and that'll really end up deciding the victor. Even if right now KT is behind in gold, you do have to remember that they have that Infernal Dragon. And so that is bolstering all of their stats. It's especially really powerful on Akali, who utilizes both ends of the AP and AD amplification.
Yeah, she's going to be having a fun time right now outside of the Camille, which, again, is pretty stunted in terms of her growth in this game. Both the Akali and the Lucian are enjoying some pretty good gold lines in terms of kills and CS, even though BDD is slightly behind in the CS column here in the mid lane.
Score just going to continue to farm up right now, as there's going to be a little bit of a lull state, Valdez, okay? Buckle up.
Okay.
All right, as the bottom lane, that lane's going to be shoved out, the next lane's going to shove out. We haven't quite evolved yet to the point where freezing lanes is something that pro teams do.
What year are you expecting that to actually come in? Is that ever going to happen?
I'm hoping by season 10 or 11 it starts to become a little bit mainstream. But then again, knowing Riot, maybe teams start freezing and then Riot balances something to just prevent it.
They're like, yeah, this strategy is way too strong. We're going to have to nerf that one. Sorry, guys.
We're going to have to not allow permanent freezes to occur.
Yeah. We want more action in the form of ping-ponging lanes back and forth.
Rest in peace, Pike. You know, we can't have fun.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Absolute tragedy.
All right, trying to gank up here on the top side. That's going to be an insane amount of CC, as a very nicely timed gank will be able to pick that one up for the side of KT.
Yeah. They end up getting that, and that's going to mean that KT gets a lot of chip damage onto the top tier 1 turret, as Camille is slowly but surely recovering, and as the game's been playing out, Kingen has been doing a lot more than SoHwan has. And now, yeah.
It's kind of interesting the way that works, you know. We saw it before from Nuggery. I think that was at Rift Rivals, where one of the teams from China was just dunking on his lane over and over again. And eventually he came back from super far behind on the Vladimir and said, doesn't matter if you camp me, I'm just going to come back in a big way. Now, Camille is still pretty far away. Kingen has a long way to go. But we've seen strats like this happen before, where you just camp the top lane, and we've seen them get thwarted before as well.
Remember, it's not just the CS differential. A lot of people could look at this and be like, okay, it's 35, 40 CS that Kingen's behind. There's also the 5 turret blades.
Yeah.
That went the way of Aatrox that is not showing up on that stat line, and that is why Camille is down quite a bit in the item department. But as this lull state does continue, Ocean Dragon is going to be taken here.
Yeah.
As Oblivion Orb is picked up for both of these laners, interestingly enough. So we'll see if they complete to the dreaded Morella Nominamicon.
Morella Nominamicon.
You know what? I never even thought of that. Morella Nominamicon.
Morella no.
I like that one. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I try my best, you know.
Yeah, I can tell. You're doing very good here.
Well, we're going back in onto the Thomas Kent's. Gonna lock him down once again. Kingen in a lot of trouble. Gets an arrow to the face, as nobody's really able to do enough damage here. Zoe, nice sniperino from downtown. Ooh. But with that stopwatch, he will be able to assault his way away. As Tempt, yeah, he's hitting his items, but KT starting that fight, not really able to finish it there as Hanwha Life strike back.
Yeah. And so now there's going to be a bit of downtime. Hanwha Life, they're just going to clear out the vision inside the red side jungle. Although BDD...
Oh, BDD. He's in the Shroud now. Going to ultimate away from that one as a stopwatch keeps bottom alive here. And SoHwan in the is going to take out one. Onto that as Bray trying to do the damage here. It's trading back and forth as Sangyoon and Bray still alive, but Sangyoon ahead of the play here as the arrow is going to snipe him down. Sangyoon showing him who's the Ash boss here in this game at least. Nice little dodge on the dread line. Hanwha Life are going to win this one with the Comet and the triple kill for Sangyoon.
And so now off of that win, they end up getting couple of minion waves as well. They get the turret up in top lane. Let's take a look at how this all transpires. I don't know what BDD is thinking. He's going for a snipe onto the Elise, but in doing so, forgetting that Elise has the stopwatch, has the repel, didn't quite have the damage to just completely gut her. Score flashes over to even the kill set on the left-hand side before going down, and then Sangyoon, he just needed a little bit of vision on the Lucian to shoot the arrow and put an end to that.
That was a style kill. He'll earn a bunch of style points and maybe even the MVP if Hanwha Life can end up winning this game. As now the gold is even for the 80 carries, and Hanwha Life in a much better spot here in the mid game.
Yeah.
Another nicely buffered dredge line as another cocoon on a guy who was standing still. Didn't matter because that blasting plant was there to get him to safety.
Gold score is 3,000 right now for Hanwha Life. But remember the Infernal, and there's a second one coming up. That should be extremely heavily contested, as it does look like both of the mid laners are going the dreaded Morellonomicon.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's really a really sad thing. You hate to see it, Feldas.
Yeah, you hate to see it. An item built so early. But, I mean, there is some healing in both of these lineups, so it's not the worst thing in the world, in this game at least.
Well, top turret now will go down on the side for 4KT, as SoHwan with Bono maybe looking to try to kill... Ooh, that was a little close. Comes in here, finds the control ward, and all eyes need to just be on the Infernal Dragon.
Uh-oh, Bono. He has no Tom Kents for now, but finally we'll have a Thomas Kent as another nice snipe there onto score. How about an arrow to follow that one? But it is that tanky SoHwan. They still have the damage to take him out, though. As Hanwha Life gonna get in there, but
they got Zoe.
To BDD, but the AoE damage from the Aatrox is way too much. BDD might be able to get away from this one, but still a one-team fight here from the side of Hanwha Life, 2-1.
Yeah, it ends up being 2 for 1. They invest a lot of abilities, but it's just not going to matter. Now they're going to be the ones in the driver's seat around this Infernal Dragon. And SoHwan, he crashes yet another wave into the turret. He's going to get the bounce back now. They're going to have priority to the Infernal. Take another quick look at how this all unfolds. It seems like they've just forgotten what Elise can do. As it doesn't matter that Score's there, you know that he's not really alone. Tom is just on the horizon, able to drop in at a moment's notice with the Abyssal Voyage. The chain CC, absolutely phenomenal right there, as he's then able to use the Devour to get to Aatrox, back into position, and he's just knocking them up for days. As BDD barely able to escape right at the very end, as now Infernal Dragon, it's on the menu for both of these teams. Kingen has teleport.
No buffer dredge line this time around, but he has 0 support, and that is going to be the Nautilus going down back to the depths where he came from, and that should be a Infernal Drake going to the side of Hanwha Life.
This is a really big dragon for them to end up picking up. Unfortunately, we have Lucian covered at the... Ash. Wow, that's pretty good. She got 24 AD. She got 2 longswords and almost a half.
Yeah, that's pretty. She's building up her repertoire. She's got a lot of stuff going on for her right now. Sangyoon already has done a lot in this game. Has that Trinity Force now. As we're looking for another pick here. Tempt will be the target, but it could be Bono again. spotted out here is the KT
And now,
side, and they move away.
Realistically, the only way that KT come back into this game, given that the Infernal has been evened up, they're almost at a 5,000 gold deficit here at 26 minutes, and the way that their gold is allocated is also not the most ideal, is they're going to need to somehow come up with a victory and convert into Baron. If they can do that, they can get back into the driver's seat. But they still need the Akali to pick up another 2 items before she starts threatening almost instantaneous lethal on some of the targets on Hanwha. Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Should have an arrow to follow this one up, and there's the flash. Feels like the first time he's been able to flash away from that danger. At least he will escape with his life this time around. As we're just going to start up the Baron now. Vision immediately comes down. Good timing by KT. Is going to push Hanwha away from that Baron.
Yeah. They push them off it, and this is allowing the side lanes to keep scaling up. Now this is where, you know, maybe freezes would not be the worst thing to do, but Camille's just going to keep shoving out the lane as fast as she possibly can. Got to go fast, even though he does have the teleport available. And we're in for a little brief lull state.
She just wants to be generous, you know, push it towards the Aatrox.
The Aatrox, yeah.
He can have a little bit of fun, too. Although that farming minions can be very rewarding and fulfilling for every top laner, so we like to give everybody equal opportunity on the Rift.
Yeah. Not bad. All right, well, 2.5 minutes until Clown Dragon ends up coming up. Not super beneficial to either team, realistically. And so Infernal will come up after that, though. That could end up being a pretty big neutral objective, as both teams not seem to know what they want to do here. It's very easy for Hanwha Life to control all the vision around the red side jungle and then just utilize the Zoe and Ashe with pseudo Baron baits, but they're not doing that. They're posturing around the map, they're constantly playing ping pong with the side lanes. They're gonna come in now and clear out the vision, but with each minute that passes, they're just wasting time, and this has been one of the main problems for both of these teams, is that they don't know how to properly close. That's a nice arrow. Cleanse, though. Oh, he missed.
SnowFlower in a lot of trouble here, as he does have the stopwatch. Can anybody of these DPS do the damage? BDD. You can see he was
that's
looking
an
for
angry
it.
Aatrox.
Aatrox coming in from the backside here, but Prey is going to be slippery to get away from him there. But again, SnowFlower just going to bite the dust. Not much that he can do alone.
And Scorer and Prey now, they're shoving out mid lane. And Prey is basically the only hope right now for KT. He also has a level advantage over Sangyoon. That's going to go away right now. 5,000 gold score. 5,000 gold gap.
Yeah.
For
yeah.
Hanwha Life.
Yes. That is true. Glad you got there eventually.
Thanks.
Really just posturing around this Baron objective right now. But yeah, Hanwha Life not really willing to take a big risk and start it up and look to turn or use Zoe or Ashe or any of the 5,000 abilities. They have to pick one of the members on the side of KT.
They're out. All right.
Okay, scoring a little bit of trouble here, but he does have that stone plate. Nice damage already coming out of Prey. That's actually going to be a flash out of Key to get out of that one, as they still struggle to find this. Now in the red side jungle, maybe they found SnowFlower again. Good threads line, though, will get him to safety once again.
All right. So, Hanwha Life, finally.
Okay,
They're
here we
starting the Baron. Okay. We could have done this about 3 minutes ago when KT had less items. Oh my. No,
it's
no.
getting low. Score has to go in right away, but he is going to be denied. As, well, there you go. Hanwha Life. It took them a while, but they finally were able to pick up that big objective of the Baron.
Yeah. They pick it up, and now Tom Kench able to come right into mid lane. Doesn't really matter about the ultimate. Sangyoon there as well. KT, they're gonna put themselves in the grave here. They're gonna take the Cloud Dragon so that the Elder spawns. So this is very great. Excellent decision. I'm being sarcastic though.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Elder, I don't know. It's like they the doctor came in and said, you know, when would you like to pass away? And they said, well, I do believe that about 6 minutes from now that would be an excellent time. As yeah, they're gonna cause the Elder to spawn earlier than it needed to. They could have made Hanwha Life go out of their way to kill it. Even if it only ends up being 20 seconds, it's still 20 seconds off the Baron.
Yeah.
That they could have done.
20 seconds off the Baron, maybe you can get the objectives to spawn at the same time, so perhaps you can trade objectives. There's many different other things you can do where the timing comes into play that KT just said, no, the Cloud Drake is high enough value that we're just going to take it because we want it and disregard everything else.
So 4 minutes until another dreaded neutral will end up coming up.
Oh, he's just going forward at this point. SnowFlower, he's sick of running away, but look who's running in there, SoHwan. But he's all alone this time around. Everybody's got to stop watching this game.
Oh, BDD did it!
Flash on the Ash there, and he is the MVP of this fight as Prey. And the rest of them from KT from behind will be able to sweep up the rift with the rest of them.
And they find an opening where Hanwha Life, they are split up, and Akali was able to get in there and do so much damage to Hanwha. And so now Tam...
Oh, score.
Able to...
Gotta love it.
Yeah, he was able to pick up that Scuttle Crab, and now KT, in a very weird turn of events, managed to stabilize the game state. And we're starting to hit the tipping point, by the way. The Camille coming online, the Akali will start threatening the backline. Now, there's still some major item spikes that have yet to come in on Hanwha Life, most notably the Guardian Angel on the Aatrox, as well as the Rabadon's Death Cap for the Zoe. But that was definitely a very big fight that they managed to get. You can see Temp just goes
I love that
forward for no reason. Ends up eating a hook. Elise is just separated from the rest of her team, and Akali has free deal on everyone because Tom isn't able to peel for the backline, and Aatrox wasn't here. So this is a fight that KT should almost never be able to find, but they got it. And so now they find themselves with a fighting chance inside of this game. And interestingly enough, the Elder Dragon that's going to be spawning in 2 minutes, it's not looking like it's going to potentially be that bad for KT because they didn't lose an inhibitor like they should have to the Baron.
I mean, Baron power play
ended up being negative, so...
Negative 2,000 gold.
If you play out the situation from the Baron forward, there's a lot of scenarios where, or the mass majority, where Hanwha Life, they get it into an inhibitor capture. The lane states will be really disadvantageous for KT, and then the Elder ends up spawning alongside the upcoming Baron, and things just don't look that good. But now KT, they're back in the game.
Good flash there from Kingen. If he gets hit by that arrow, you'd have to imagine that he's pretty much dead. Not going to waste any time, as that was a big commitment from Hanwha Life. You'll notice 4 members had to go top to deal with that, and now KT is going to say thank you very much. We'll rotate into the other lanes and pick up some more gold to get even more gold parity in this game with you.
The gold score is all but reduced almost. There's only 2,000 between both of these teams at 35 minutes. Now, if you remember during the pick ban, I did say that if they can be on even footing, eventually the Akali and the Camille are able to do so much in the later stages of the game. And so now it's really going to be on Tom Kench to try to be a hero inside of some of these fights, because the time for the sieges from the Ashe and the Zoe are gone. And now we're on even footing with 2 major neutrals coming up. In Hanwha Life, they were in the driver's seat from 18 minutes forward. They got the Baron, and then they botched it in the top red side jungle of KT and allowed them to recover. And now the game is KT favored.
Yeah, I mean, look at the control of vision right now from KT around this Elder. They're doing a good job mostly as we're just going in on the Aatrox. Would the revive help him out this time around as it's 3-on-1? But SoHwan, just so much survivability. Does have a revive in the form of his GA, but can the rest of his team actually help him? The answer will be no, as it's a big pick from the side of KT, as now they're just pushing down the mid lane.
They're pushing down mid. They're going to be able to raise that inhibitor in mid, and so now one big error will spell lights out. They have 45 seconds. They have double Ocean Dragon, and so, I mean, they're not getting that much HP. If you see Camille, she's not actually regioning super fast, but you know,
she has
something.
A lot of HP.
It's something.
Yeah. All right, we're looking for the trade now.
This is a bad trade. Elder is so much more valuable than Baron, even if Hanwha Life have the Baron buff. The Observers do. They just threw up the Elder before they even consumed it at the very top as a buff. But the Elder, they can just plow right through.
Yeah.
If Hanwha Life try to utilize the Baron buff to push, KT can just say, okay, LOL, and then just engage right on top of Hanwha Life, and they will just go down. As we're taking another quick look at this replay, and you know, I really want to thank the Observers here for allowing us to see what would happen if Aatrox had his revive. You know. Alright.
Exactly
that. And even if he had one more, he would have just died a couple more centimeters south of where his corpse was. So.
He would have been able to move a little bit in the old revive, so maybe he buys 3 extra seconds to bait his teammate into dying as well, and maybe KT just ends the game there. But, you know, it was a nice pickoff. I think that Hanwha Life was just... It was SoHwan being very far down the lane with the rest of his team was all in the bot lane. Like, everybody was just bot, nowhere near him. They have to know that even though their comp has a bunch of pick, when you have Camille, Sejuani, Nautilus, you got to be careful yourself.
And so now it does look like KT want to be the ones to push the bottom lane. And remember, they're in the driver's seat right now. As long as this Elder Dragon persists, it's impossible for Hanwha Life to realistically win a team fight unless something would go catastrophically wrong.
Yeah, especially if they fight right now. 45 seconds left on the Elder, as we're just going to throw out an arrow here on a Prey. He gets a couple of autos down.
Quite a bit of damage, and they managed to repel the wave.
And the cooldown on the arrow is so low with the 40% CDR build. I mean, sangyoon's going to have it back in a jiffy.
I haven't heard that term in a very long time. I am a big fan.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Hanwha Life, all that they should be thinking about right now is, all right, we just have to not fight on this next wave, fight after the Elder Dragon buff expires.
Exactly.
And all they have to do is repel it, and now they'll have the leg up for about a minute with the Baron, but that's not really the main point here, Valdez, as now they've gotten the game state back to where it's going to be 2 neutrals that are going to end up coming up again. They cannot allow KT to get the second Elder Dragon. The problem is, at the next team fight, Camille has Guardian Angel, Akali will have Rabadon's Death Cap. Every member on Hanwha Life, or, well, not every member, but Elise, Zoe, and Ashe, they will just pop. Doesn't matter about the Hex Drinker.
Yeah.
Akali's just going to laugh at it.
And if Prey has any room at all, right, he's short range, right, but if Illusion can fight behind a front line and can go forward instead of trying to kite backwards, we're going to see multiple, you know, 2 pops to the face where he's double critting. And you talk about the other 2, but add in the DPS from Prey. If the fight goes on KT's terms, then, I mean, this team composition just packs so much punch when it comes down to it and they get all their items. And Prey, with the rapid fire cannon and 5 items total, he's also going to be bringing in his own to these team fights.
Kingen now just going to clear out this wave. We have 2.5 minutes until both of these major neutrals end up respawning. KT should just have all eyes on Elder, as they're the ones with the pretty big advantage at this point in the game. Rabadon's Death Cap completed for Akali. Curious to see if Prey's actually just going to go for 6 items on the Lucian, or if he'll end up keeping his boots. As Ashe, being that she is basically just a walking missile turret, could just sell the boots for another item, but certainly not before she completes Maw of Malmortius. And we're going to be in a little bit of a lull state now for 1 minute and 45 seconds. Neither team probably going to do anything here. So, Valdez, what would you like to talk about? Pick it out of the hat.
Well, I mean, we are going to have Elder and Baron spawning at the same time. That is something that is game relevant.
Okay.
But have you been playing a little bit of the new TFT patch?
I have not.
You haven't?
I don't play it.
Have you abandoned that game now?
I was forced to abandon it.
I see. I see how it goes.
It's very, very.
You enjoyed it so much, and then
I did.
they
You
took
know,
it away.
it was a hard letdown.
Okay. Well,
As it's a good game. It is a good game. It's a very fun game. I do like that they just added the 4 new champions. The Hex Tech, I believe, was their passive, right? The Camille, Jace, Vi, and Jinx.
yes.
And so, curious to see what the next champions that'll end up coming. I'm just waiting for Teemo. I mean, he just has to be
Yeah.
Demon Yordle.
What?
They can
Demon
just get
Yordle?
Demon Yordle, of course. Make him a 5-star unit. Just
He
don't
puts
even-
one giant mushroom in the middle. It's not even like a little mushroom on
He-
one of the squares. It's a giant mushroom.
Probably just has a blind, if we're being honest. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Rek'Sai, and well, it's kind of what you would expect as don't take up archery today, sangyoon. That is not going to land onto anybody.
Well, 15 seconds now though until the 2 major neutrals both end up spawning. KT should just have their eyes on the prize, which is the Elder.
Absolutely. Second Elder with the 4 Elemental Drakes as well would be it, but you can see what they're trying to set up here. They want to bait them into some kind of flank as Kingen and BDD looking to come in here. Prey doing free deal as Kingen going to go in, and in goes BDD as well. As the damage, it is fighting front to back, and they assassinate that Thomas catch.
Whoa, Akali
Really
though.
nicely done, as sangyoon is going to go down. Prey free hitting in the front line, but sangyoon, can he actually do the damage here as SoHwan is going to go into his
Prey!
Prey! It's not enough, as Prey is going to be able to double tap him into the grave. And it looks like KT has finally done it here in a very close team fight. They'll push to the victory in the 2-0.
So Prey's going to end up pushing here for the victory. A little bit surprised he doesn't just recall to get an elixir before TPing backs in for max value, but it doesn't matter. Look at the death timer, so that would just be style points at that point. So they don't even need the Elder. They come up with a big win in mid lane.
Absolutely. Gigantic team fight
That's
there. Well played by KT overall. GG comes in as the 2-0 victory is going to be the play here for KT Rolster. And that's going to be good for KT. They'll have a chance at avoiding relegations here with that big win over Hanwha Life. They get the revenge from round 1, where Hanwha Life was able to get the 2-0 over KT. And it's also good for Jin Air, because Jin Air actually have a chance now to make it out of relegation if they can win every single matchup from here. We'll see if that actually does happen. But either way, definitely a good morale booster there for KT Rolster, able to put on a very strong performance, even coming back from behind in game number 2.
Yeah, and the game state, they should have lost, but they held it together. They found the opening inside the red side jungle through Hanwha Life's mistakes. They capitalized on that one moment, and Hanwha Life just couldn't keep it together. The game state reset. It was brought back to an even point, which means that the Akali and the Camille got to come online, and those were the 2 main key pieces of the KT team composition. And so even though Prey, he had a really, really, really good performance, it was really the Akali and Camille coming online, Prey getting the constant damage deal, and Hanwha Life struggling to sustain against them. They traded the Baron for the Elder, which was a poor decision.
Yeah.
Because it didn't matter, they weren't able to utilize the Baron buff, and then it puts an even heavier weight on them when trying to resist the second Elder Dragon.
That guy was believing in KT. He's a big fan.
He got excited.
He got excited, and it paid off this time around. I was saying that people were getting excited after game number 1. Thankfully, it didn't come back to bite me. I didn't have to apologize and try to extend my apology streak into KT wins to 3-3. Just 2-2 for now. But yeah, KT definitely deserved that win. I don't think Hanwha Life played particularly well this time around, but KT were definitely the outstanding and better team, I would say, tonight.
Yeah, they definitely were. But, I mean, by basically all metrics, the jungle was a little bit weird in game number 2. Score did feel behind, and honestly, you gotta feel bad for Bono and SoHwan. They put on a clinic in top lane. As we just see, they're arbitrarily posturing in the mid lane. I like to call this the Nayram. And sometimes the Nayram goes good for you, sometimes it goes bad. You can see Aatrox, he was really scary in the backline. He was able to deal so much damage. He even revived, and he was pissed off. He killed BDD, but then couldn't quite do anything else in the very end before going down. And then Tempt had a chance to kill Prey, but Prey able to stay alive at the end. Bono looking for Prey with that repel, not able to find him. Cancels the recall, and that was the end. Good job. Saying please, please. Got it.
And then what else?
Nice. Nice, yeah.
I heard that one too.
You did hear that?
Glad we're on the same page. As the double tap crits coming out from the Lucian. I called it there in that last fight. Prey was able to put on a clinic there at the end.
You see it in the gold graph? That should have been the point of no return for KT. They were facing a Baron. Their champions hadn't come online. The Zoe and Ashe were at their peak. Infernal had been evened up.
Yep.
And then it just like a cliff. Oh, man.
And Hanwha Life all together kind of just took one collective step right off of that cliff into the hands of KT, who said thank you very much. We'll take this victory. As I voted for BDD that time for the MVP. I feel like he got a lot of it going in those mid-game team fights when they were very far behind. I can see, though, how Prey might pick up a double MVP after the great play and a couple of those last team fights as well. But
Prey might get it
good stuff
just for being so consistent inside of the game.
Yeah.
And again, you gotta feel so bad if you're Bono, and it feels really bad to probably lose this game after you created such a top gap early on. You basically invalidated the enemy team's top laner. And even fights like this, I mean, they just kept getting advantages. Ended up being a trade right there. And then Sangyoon able to come in. Not quite able to get the kill on Prey right there. He said, wait a second, let me shoot this arrow. As then they just wrap around in top lane, they get SnowFlower. It was a nice attempt right there to hook SoHwan. He'd still end up going down. Anyway, the Comet actually killed Nautilus.
Yeah.
And then right here, this happened several times this game. KT kept getting baited by the Elise, if you remember, the repel.
Yeah.
And then this was beautiful chain CC here by Hanwha Life. Ended up killing Score. Aatrox goes into his World Ender. And then, even though Prey, he brings down Tempt, BDD, really close call. Not quite able.
This is the fight right here.
To be brought down. This was it, yeah. And just look at how out of position all of their members really were. SnowFlower lands that hook, and now he can't protect anyone from Akali's wrath. And so Sangyoon, he ends up going down at such a key point. Aatrox running for the hills, and it just doesn't matter. Tahm Kench is not able to hold all these errors.
You know, he's got one Devour. He's only got one mouth. He can only expect so much. As another look at the last team fight. As it was fought really well front to back. SoHwan, I feel like he should have been able to do a little bit more, but there's so much CC in the composition, and Prey stayed alive for a pretty insane amount of time in this one as well. Getting the big time screams here from, feels like mostly BDD and Prey. Super happy after that win. The 2-0 victory doesn't come every time here for KT.
Yeah.
They got to sit back after this one and just rejoice and feel good after what has been not the best year 2019 for this team.
Well, this was a very rough game. Did they win with the goal disadvantage? No, they're even.
Yeah, they
Right
they
at
got
the
the win right at
100.
the end. What
100
is that?
gold. Yeah, I mean, that's how that's why
They
they
got
won.
the Nexus, right? The 50 gold. They're like, okay, we take the victory right there.
What,
so.
do you know what is the most important 50 gold in the game?
The Nexus?
Tibbers.
Tibbers? Oh, okay. But we never see Annie, so sorry, LS. That's never gonna happen.
She's secretly global for being too strong.
That's true.
Didn't you see what happened in Europe? We're gonna take a look at the MVP.
We are gonna take a look at the MVP eventually. It is going to be BDD this time around, as he was absolutely. I feel like it was himself and Hanwha Life doing a very good job to bring their team back in this one.
As we do see what he's able to do right here. SoHwan just biting off a little bit more than he can chew, even though he was getting knock-up city. Didn't really matter, and this is where Akali really got to go off. Devour not available, and so they were, I mean, there was a shark in the water right here.
Yeah, so slippery. BDD multiple times getting out of danger, getting right into the back line, exactly where he needed to be when he needed to be there. And was absolutely the big carry there for the mid-game. So props to him. We'll pick up that one. We are going to be hearing from BDD and Prey in this MVP interview. So I'm going to hand it over to Ji-sun for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Season with the Never Translation, and we'll be hearing from Prey BDD from KT Rolster. Prey, today was a must-win game for you guys. I could hear the players cheering after the game. How do you feel right now? Well, this is not the way we wanted, but it was a very significant match for both us and Hanwha Life. So it's really happy to pick up a 2-0 victory like this. BDD, game number 2. Your performance was really clean, but it was very long. So how did you keep focused in game? Because it was such an important game. We all just, we all just wanted to survive and leave. So we were actually very focused till the end of the game. So let's talk about game number 1. Prey, you scaled up really well. So at which point of the game did you feel like you were going to win the game number 1? So it was really too obvious that Hanwha was trying to unleash the Herald in bot lane. So I made a call that we're about to have a team fight here. So our players are TPing in for backup. So I thought that we might win that game. So as you mentioned, we have the highlight for that fight. So as you just told, you expected all of that, right? Because sangyoon had the Herald, we knew that they were going to play around the bot lane, so we were able to kind of fight back really well. And that was a very fast game. However, game number 2 was really extended and a hard journey for all the players. Well, sangyoon is really good at Trinity Force and SS Reaver Ash. So what's your thought on that build? Well, I mean, we could predict that, so we weren't really surprised to see him playing Ash. I mean, that build is a mainstream, so we weren't really, surprised. BDD, there were a lot of happenings in top lane, so KT was actually a little bit behind. Did you feel extra pressure? We thought that you were kind of roam up to support Kingen. Well, in the laning phase in mid lane, well, I wasn't having a lot of pressure, so I could see that the Hanwha players were too obviously playing around the top lane, so I just wanted to kind of roam up the top lane to support and maybe be able to scale up through the fights. And when KT was having the turrets in the lanes, you guys were keep pushing forward, so did you think that's gonna be more profit? We thought that that would be the best decision in that kind of situation. So, Nautilus was in game number 1 and 2, and also it's on a 9 and 4 score. So is it a comfort pick for SnowFlower? Well, we always tell him you're nothing without Nautilus. So at the same time, that's a proof that he's really confident on it, and also he prefers it. So I think he really executed the plays that he's confident with. So we have another highlight in game number 2. So how did you see this angle? We knew that there would be a fight there, so actually SnowFlower really survived really well, so I was able to just freely go deep inside the back line, so I was able to take down the AD carry there. And after that, the final team fight, there was another really amazing fight over there. So did you feel like you're going to carry the game on Akali today? I always think that having confidence is really important, so I was a bit confident. So there are a lot of KT Rolster fans supporting you guys throughout this whole split. This is first time talking to you, Prey. So any message for the fans, Prey? Well, this is not the storyline we really wanted. However, we have been underperforming a lot. So I just want to do our best to show improved performance for the fans. So keep supporting us. Thank you. And VDD? Well, nowadays, recently, all of our teammates, our kind of teamwork is kind of warmed up, so we're going to just do our best to show improved performance. Thank you. So this will be the end of the interview with Prey, VDD from KT Rolster, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sun, as always, for that wonderful translation. It's always good to hear from the guys up there from KT. Don't get to hear too often from them, but when we do, always a nice little treat. We are going to be going into Sandbox versus Griffin next. Will be about a hour-long, maybe 50-minute break. So hold on to your seats, guys. But you can see what happens down at the bottom of the table. KT takes a leap forward against Hanwha.
Griffin can rejoin the West today.
Yes, they can.
They can send Genji back to the East. That's what's potentially on the agenda.
So if they go 9-5, they'll be ahead of everybody.
Oh, if they 2-0,
they'll be ahead of everybody but Damwon.
Well, no.
Right? Because they'll be 9-5 with +10, which would be ahead of SKT.
If they 2-0.
If they 2-0.
Yeah.
If they 2-1, then they're in third. Well, actually, they're tied with
no, hold on.
SKT.
Did they 2-0 SKT in round 1?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'd have to say
they might have. Yeah, I think they did.
Think
SKT
so.
was losing a lot.
Yeah, but it would come down to that head-to-head. Either way, no guarantee that Griffin even takes the 2-0 or 2-1 or any victory over Sandbox. Sandbox going to be fighting for their spot. We'll join you guys in about 50 minutes for our next matchup.
You take me higher when I feel low. Make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, all with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come true. 'Cause this is the beginning. Together we'll be winning. With you I'm excited. Make my sorrow sit. 'Cause with you I'm feeling feather light.